Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the morning. 15 minutes to change our lives. Who could imagine 15 minutes could do such an impact? Okay, continuing on in the Sefer of Derech Mitzvah, Mitzvah Avish Yisrael, and Sinas Yisrael, and Issa Sinas Yisrael. This share is sponsored for Shleima for Ze'eva, Yosefa, Bas Malka, Riva. Sponsored by Anonymous. That in the course of our learning, they should have a speedy Refuah Shleima. I mean, continuing on in this riveting share over here that the Tanakh is talking about. So remember, in the first days, we discussed the advantage of Avos Yisrael, how really we have to have Avos Yisrael because we all come from the same place. And it's just when we come down into this world, we see that separateness. But really, that's where we're all from the same, we're all connected. And we said that's also why, when it comes to davening, we have to take upon ourselves obviously mitzvahs Avos Yisrael. What's the difference between what's Avos Yisrael going to do with davening? We're saying because when you come to daven to the Eibush, you come to get close to Hashem, and you have to bring yourself up like a carbon because davening is like a carbon. The only way to do that is the carbon is without a mum, just like the actual carbon couldn't have mum. So to ourselves, we are bringing up ourselves as a carbon to connect to Hashem. We have to have no mum. And then we said in base, we're starting to say there's a much deeper level into this. That explanation was good, but we have a whole different level. And this whole different level is that we have to realize that, and also with this level, we can understand and appreciate why does Hillel say that whatever you don't like, don't do to your friend. Why does he say it in the negative? Yeah, whatever you don't like, don't do the other friends. So we asked why is it in the negative? But now we've explained yesterday beautifully that what he's saying is a very beautiful point. He's saying just like you don't like someone catching you out on your faults, we all have faults, but you don't like it when someone calls you out on it, someone sees it, and not necessarily even says, "Hey, what are you doing?" But they see it, and you can recognize, and you feel it that they're looking at you and they're judging you and they're seeing that. Just like we don't like that, so we shouldn't do someone else. We should cover why, but how? It's how do we get over that? Because just like for ourselves, why within ourselves we do this? You know, we like the biggest hurdle to our success in life is ourselves. It could be from what we've been taught, and people have told us things maybe when younger, but essentially it's always our self-talk is what's really getting to us. And we're able to cover over that self-talk. So normally that's a negative thing, but here we're using it in a positive. That self-talk covers over our issues, and so we're able to move on even though we're doing not necessarily the right things, and we don't hurt ourselves from it. But what we're saying is when we come to someone else, we should be that nicely judging. Yeah, like it says, we'll go from the top of page 32, just after Mayim Rabim. So we said because Mayim Rabim that the many waters love that the love that we have for ourselves, even though there's many waters of that person that we see all these issues, but the Mayim Rabim will overcome that. And that's also why this is the whole Torah. Now we're going to explain why this is the whole Torah. Through all the Jewish people coming together and becoming united together, which is through being able to overlook any of the faults and just seeing the good in everyone. We're like one single entity. Through that, so what we're going to achieve above by Hashem is something wondrous. And what we're going to say essentially is that just like we overcome, and we overcome someone's thoughts, we don't look at someone's faults, and just like the self-love for ourselves, we express it to someone else. So too, Hashem does the same thing, and He overcomes our faults, and He sees. But Hashem sees everything. He sees our faults because of the love that we have, the obvious we have to each other. The Eibishter, He acts in kind, just like we. We're not too specific about the person's issues, and we have because our self-love to them, we push past it. So to Hashem does the same thing. That's what we're achieving. Yeah, we call something very wondrous about. What is that? Which is really the ultimate, the whole purpose of the Torah, which is this is the union of the whole and blessed be He. With Hishchina, which is the Jewish people. It's the union between us and Hashem. That's the whole Torah. That the Shechina is like the lower matriarch, the matrinusa, which is the Malka and the which is the souls of the Jewish people. So in simple English, he's saying it's the union of Kutcha Baruch Shechina is connecting Hashem with the souls of the Jewish people. And how does that's the whole Torah essentially, to connect us and Hashem. And how do we connect us with Hashem? The image, the beauty of Yaakov is like the beauty of Adam Rishon, like it says in Bab Metzia. So what's Yaakov? He's the whole Jewish people, the Kol Yisrael, all of the souls. So who me'ein shuva the Adam ha'elyon shal kisa marik demus kavod Hashem, which is connected, like we said, the beauty of Yaakov, the beauty of Adam, which is connected to Adam, which is on the kisei. I'm just explaining Kabbalistic terminology, this connection that is achieved. Because the portion of Hashem is His people. We are part of Hashem. Therefore, when we as the Jewish people come together, when we become one through looking at people the way we look at ourselves and judging them favorably and overlooking the thoughts because of the abundant love that we have for them. So we become one, the one in oneness, meaning in Hashem, in the oneness, in the source of Malchus, of the oneness within ourselves, meaning with all the Jewish people. Hashem unites with us. And then we become totally one, not just a one amongst ourselves, like one entity, but that one entity becomes united and one with Hashem. And therefore, once we become one with Hashem, so to speak, Hashem, the sublime man, doesn't see the faults. Just like we talked about until now, that we within ourselves we overcome, we look past our flaws, and we know that they're there, we know we have issues, we know everything we need to work on because of our self-love, so we don't look at it and we just cover it over. So once we become one with Hashem, which Hashem sees everything, He also covers over all these faults because of the love He has for us. So for us, who over al kol pesha shel Yisrael, command the mistechei b'yamo rabba. It's like one who's cleanses in the mighty ocean. So meaning, Hashem looks, so to speak, looks away, just like we look away of our own issues. Which is such it's a funny way of looking at this whole thing, that we're taking something that seemingly is a negative character trait or a negative flaw within us, that we're not honest with ourselves, and we cover over our issues. Not that we don't know the issues, like we said, we know there's issues. We should be doing something better. I should daven more kavana. I should be nicer to my friends. I should eat healthy. I should go to bed on time. I should give more tzedakah. I should learn more. I should think more about what I'm learning. But we just covered it. We didn't make a big deal. And we're still happy with ourselves, which is seemingly a problem. We're using that negative character trait or character flaw for the positive. That if we can use that with someone else and therefore love them because of it, so therefore we cause not just that I love them and I become more connected with more people around me, but I cause that Hashem will treat me the same way. And Hashem will also not look at all these faults, and the abundant love that He has for us will look over all these flaws. Like it says, he doesn't see any sins, doesn't see any faults with Yaakov. Doesn't see any wrongdoings with the Jewish people, with Israel. Why? Why doesn't he see? Because Hashem's with us. Like we said before, that a person doesn't look at his own faults. So too, Hashem, He doesn't look at His own faults. And He says, and understood sufficient to the intelligent. Meaning we don't need to elaborate more. We understand this, and this is the whole Tyler Maven. It's he's saying to us, this is so clear and so beautiful and so obvious. We have to realize this, that we can cause Hashem not to judge us negatively. How? We're not judging others negatively. Such a simple thing. And if you think about it from this terminology, from this perspective, it's so easy. Hey, let me just be more forgiving to other people, like I'm forgiving to myself. Not just will be better for them, not just will be better for me, but it's better for the whole Jewish people. And then the way God judges me is going to be much more favorable. Meaning, if we know we have things we need to work on and we're not doing such a good job of it, this is sort of another option, another thing to do with them. It's beautiful. It's not that Hashem doesn't see. That it doesn't see anything from Hashem. Why? Even a light speech, even something that's like just a little bit of lashon hara, even not even lashon hara, just speak, even negatively speak on ourselves, and we say something negative about ourselves to ourselves. It's not healthy. But Hashem doesn't see that. Hashem sees that, and Hashem doesn't like that. He doesn't like when we speak not nice to ourselves, not nice to other people. But because of the self-love that he has for himself, so to speak, so therefore he covers it over. Like it says in Eov that he sees the sin, but he doesn't think about it, doesn't notice it, doesn't take it into consideration. Just like we said before, the way it's meant to be, this is such a beautiful word. The way it's meant to be within ourselves is that we think about something that brings an emotion and then we act on it. But we said that when it comes to the self-love, so we think about something that's wrong, and we do something wrong, but it doesn't come into our emotion to feel, hey, this is not proper. I shouldn't be doing this, and I should change it and actually change it. We don't do that. The servant to Hashem will also not do that. He'll think about it, so to speak, and he'll see that it's a problem, but he won't bring it down into emotions, which will cause an action to say, hey, not good. You got to change that and start doing something about it. He'll let you go. Not that we should do things wrong, and we should work on ourselves, but because of this self-love that we cause Hashem to have with us, so it's it can help us go through life. Because the love will cover it over. That Hashem's love for us that we are causing to happen will cover over all these issues. For Hashem who erects the barrier, meaning he makes like a barrier that it covers over. They don't have these issues in the way. Elokai hu, and what is in the pasuk it says Elokai. So Elokai hu kel vav hey. It's composed of the God with the letters vav hey. Shehu chesed elyon, which is representative of the higher chesed. Yeah, which is hamakiv k'moshe kasu eitzchaim, which is like the level of makiv, meaning overcoming all the flaws of the Jewish people. Shehu levush haneshama. You look over there for more details about that. That's all the positive. But I think let's keep the opposite of this for tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll discuss the opposite side of the coin. This is all the positive side of the coin. So remember, what we're saying is that through us having the, so to speak, self-love for the other person, just like we have for ourselves, and we don't look at the flaws, and like we talked about many times already, that the difference between a friend, someone you don't like, is what you focus on. So through focusing on everyone's positive character traits, therefore you'll cause that within us, Hashem will also happen with Hashem, that Hashem will see our positive character traits, and even though Hashem sees everything, so he also sees the faults, but he'll push those aside and not even look at them, not focus on them, because of the great love that he has for us. And we should be very successful in this. We should have an amazing day. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
Something just to understand in regards to what we're learning, we have to internalize this message. It doesn't mean to be like square about it and not understand how to apply it in certain situations. This is a general outlook, and we have to take this outlook and learn how to apply it to certain situations. Of course, if someone is doing Chil Hashem or there's a loss of life in the balance, you're not going to say, "Oh, I'm just going to love them so much, and it'll be fine. Hashem will forgive them and me for all the issues." We have to use your brains. What we're saying is it's a general outlook. I'm not talking about specific situations that there's something wrong. You need to speak up because it's partially dangerous or it's partially a problem. But even that, when you speak up, it's because it's the right thing to do and to help them because you love them. That's the general way. I think we understand the general outlook. And when it comes to a person, like one good example of way how to look at this is when you come to a person that is totally, you seem not to connect, let's say, let's say that from a different sect of Judaism, or they're not even religious, and you come to them, a person, the Baal Tshuva, and you go to a parent's home, your parents don't understand your life. So you can focus on all the negatives, and you can come, and all the problems, and you can come and say, they're not keeping Shabbos, and there's all these issues. But with ourselves, we don't do that. And that's what we're saying. Ourselves, we don't focus on the negative, we focus on the positives, and we excuse all the little mistakes that we do. So what we're saying is we should look at them the same way. Focus on the connection that we have, what we relate to, and what we do connect with, and all the issues that you see, cover it over, just like you covered over for yourself. That's what we're saying. Just like we cover over for ourselves, things that we want to, so too, we should be very, very easily covering for other people. And when we do this, what we said today is that Hashem will do the same thing with us and with all the Jewish people.